So chatters came in here and were like, dude, have you addressed the video that came out on you? And I was like, what? Of like Charlie Kirk obliterating you. And I was like, what the are you talking about, bro? I haven't talked to Charlie Kirk since like 2018. And it turns out a couple conservatives, including the based conservative.
Oh, the based one.
Made Hasan Piker. And I thought it was this video that they were talking about. I was like, oh, people are still doing like the Hasan videos, which used to pop, but they don't anymore. But I guess they still pop in conservative circles, right? And then I found this millionaire mentor. Fight erupts as Charlie Kirk obliterates Hasan Piker in epic debate. And this video has 921,000 views since we've last played. Since I mentioned on stream.
All your fans are watching
in 2 days.
My channel's
I know, dude. That's what I thought too. Dude, that's what I thought too. You need to start making like Hasan Sucks videos, and I need to start making them too.
I've got all this like rare access to your like darkest moments.
I know.
I can film you sleeping.
So let's take a look at this video.
Are you ready? Might not be nice to watch yourself being obliterated.
Dude,
I would not want to watch myself being obliterated.
I know. It's going to be really sad. Well, luckily I was there, so I know what actually happened.
What's the occasion? What gets you and Charlie Kirk together?
It was a political convention where they would just like bring, you know, leftists, Democrats, right-wingers, Nazis together and have them duke it out.
This Hasan Piker stood no chance against my boy Charlie Kirk in this debate on capitalism and the free market when Hasan was exposed as walking and talking contradiction against his own positions on the subject.
Wait, is he going to say that I was like, I'm rich and that's why I can't be socialist? Because like back then I was broke as which is like the pivotal moment that he's going to show in this debate is when Charlie Kirk is like talking about how much money I make. And I tell him I make $60,000 a year. Like, what the
Well, then you're angry at him because you're jealous.
Yeah, exactly. Then you switch it. They're like, oh, you're just jealous of rich people. Exactly.
Around to see the debate nearly turn into a wrestling match as the Young Turks' Cenk Uygur starts screaming from the audience for no reason at all. Just subscribe to the for more discussions like this. Let's jump into it.
By the way, this is precisely why I say like it's so much easier to be a right-wing grifter. Like this guy looks like sounds like is resurfacing a debate from like 8 years ago. Not 8 years ago, but whatever. And it's like, yeah, that's right. He got owned. Instant 1 million views in 2 days. I'm not gonna lie. Both of us are jealous of the numbers, by the way. Let's make no mistake. I
gotta write obliterating in my title a bit more.
Dude, no, YouTube just like pumps right wing so fucking hard.
Inherently oppressive. So small business owners are oppressing their employees.
Come on, you're hyper-focusing on small business, dog. I'm talking about capitalism versus socialism.
Even though 85% of all jobs in this country are created by small businesses, even though under this president, poverty rates have gone to the lowest level in the last 65 years.
Do you want to ask questions? Wait, hold on.
Let me finish. I let you finish, right?
Okay, go ahead.
Let me finish. 3.9 million Americans have gone off food stamps and into the labor force under this president. That should be applauded by everybody.
That's my favorite one. Yeah, when they cut food stamps and they like they force people into even worse conditions and they're like, what a dub. What a whopping dub that was.
They'd be like,
when we killed poor people.
We created lots of jobs. These people are doing 3 jobs now.
Yeah. People used to do 1 job back in the day. That was some pussy. Now they're doing 3.
The standard of living increased for all people across the world. Things get better, prices go down, and we are able to enjoy the abundance that only a free market system can create. And you know what? I don't have to call you guys socialists. Bernie Sanders
He's got it mounted like 10 meters in the air.
We should reject socialism.
Conjecture versus hard statistics. That's the bird's eye view of this debate, but I want to pick at something that Hasan Piker just remarked about capitalism as supposedly inherently exploitative.
Let's hear.
6 years later, he's got the comeback.
Yeah. I can't wait. I suspect that he's going to talk about extraction of surplus labor value is good, actually. One thing idiot. Poor people don't know what to do with all that money. All that money that they're generating for their bosses, it's much better served in the hands of their bosses. Duh.
Can Hasan make that explicitly Marxist talking point and yet not claim to be a Marxist? The entire edifice of Marxist thinking lies in
Dog, that was literally 6 years ago. I think we're way past that point. People call me a terrorist now, okay? We've moved beyond like, oh, Hasan, is he Marxist? Is he not a Marxist? No, they're like, Hasan is a Marxist, Islamist, fundamentalist, Al-Qaeda supporting terrorist now. That's like
Hamas Piker.
Yeah, Hamas Piker is what they call me nowadays, motherfucker. This guy's arguing against me from 6 years ago. Oh, back when things were so much better. Then I could.
They were better for him as well. He was hot 6 years ago.
Oh, damn. That's rough. Things were so much better. That is like the one big L. I should have never said what I believe in. And I should have just been like, what are you talking about? I love capitalism. But also, like, wouldn't it be great if workers had more control over their lives? You know, that sort of.
Everything's fine.
Yeah.
Everything's literally fine for everyone.
No, I don't mean it like that. I just mean like advocate for the same things I advocate for without saying I'm a socialist. I think that I would have a better way of being able to reach a broader audience and convince them.
Well, it's just such a dirty word here.
Yeah, I know. It's so up.
You know what socialist is? Bernie Sanders wants an 80% tax rate on the rich.
Venezuela too, right? Dude, listen.
Bernie Sanders wants to keep our fossil fuel assets in the road.
You want me to explain it to you? Because you obviously don't understand it. Do you want me to explain it to you?
Is Cuba not socialist? Is North Korea not socialist?
Cuba is socialist and it's awesome. Suck my dick.
The most doctors per capita.
Vietnam not socialist? Was Zimbabwe not socialist? You can laugh all you want, Hassan,
okay, do you
but
want
100 million people died under socialism the last 100
I wonder if he cuts off my argument because I actually dunk on him pretty hard here where I talk about like global capitalism, the deaths under global capitalism under the similar principles would be akin to 14 million due to famine alone before we even factor in like, you know, other diseases.
Who was it Arundhati Roy? Who's someone like compiled like just India alone over the past 100 years, deaths from capitalism. It's just like mind blowing.
Yeah.
And you have the gumption to continue. Okay. You can keep laughing.
Hold on.
Yeah, 100 million people died under socialism, which includes the Black Book of Communism figures, which is so funny. Literally talk about, one, all the Nazis that were killed, okay? And also factors in the possible children they would have had. Are you insane? Oh, man. I cannot believe all the Nazi children that could have been alive today if the communists didn't kill them in World War II.
It's also just it's also just a general economic development thing where like if you start industrializing, you move into cities, people do just have less children. That's just I think that's like a bad thing. That's what this guy's, you know.
Yeah.
To the victims' families from Cuba, from Venezuela, from Korea, from Vietnam, from Mao's China, from Stalin's Russia.
Vietnam? Dude, he was just dropping so many bombs in there. I didn't even. It took me 6 years to hear him say Vietnam. Who was more victimized in Vietnam? I wonder who was responsible for more deaths in Vietnam. Communism, under the watchful gaze of Ho Chi Minh, gave the Vietnamese people liberation and autonomy and sovereignty, or the American Defense Department that dumped so much Agent Orange in Vietnam that children still have birth defects in the country to this day.
The number one killer of citizens, from innocent civilians the last 100 years, has been the very idea that you shamelessly wear on your sleeve every single day. Marxism has killed more people than any other ideology over the last 100 years.
Okay. Thank you for those words.
You're welcome.
When 100 million people die under a communist dictatorship, and some of those millions are also Nazis, which is included there, whatever, you blame communism.
The National Socialist Workers Party?
Or you blame...
I forgot about that.
Hitler's a communist.
Oh, yeah, Hitler. Oh, yeah. Adolf Hitler, famous communist.
He was such a communist. He wanted to kill all the other communists to make him the best one.
Yeah. Dude, World War II was leftist infighting. Yeah, FDR, also communist. Wow. Let him cook.
You blame socialism, but when 7 million people die every year under our current global capitalist environment, where just by famine alone, before we even talk about imperialism, and before we even talk about the damaging wars that are happening all around the world, then it's the individual. So you're essentially telling every single person that's poor, it's your fault that you're poor, it's your fault that you die under a capitalist system, but if you were under a communist system...
I have never said that.
I mean, that's literally what you're saying.
No, it's not.
So whose fault is it? Whose fault is it that 7 million people every year die just by famine-related diseases and famine under our current global capitalist structure?
Which, by the way, has a massive abundance of food production. Like when, we're killing all the birds, or when we're trying to maybe restructure under, when you're trying to move an agrarian society to the industrial giant over the course of, and engaging in collectivization efforts over the course of multiple decades, while also fighting a massive war against the industrial might of the Nazis, obviously there's gonna be some miscalculations along the way with crop rotations. I would say that in and of itself, still pretty bad, but nowhere near as horrific as like having an abundance of food, like a surplus of food.
It's just there.
That's just there, but because of the profit motive, like
it's funny,
people have to die.
They focus on these guys coming in like Stalin and these famines, and it's just like, what about the famines like under the Tsarist Russian Empire? Like, that was brutal. Like, it's just like, no, that's irrelevant. The famines that were going on up until then don't count. It's the ones that when the communists came.
Personally, I think it's unconscionable to have an abundance of food and have like the capacity to basically feed every single person on this planet, and simply have a logistical problem, a lack of interest to do so due to the profit motive, and allow at least 7 million people to die due to famine every year, than miscalculating on your efforts of how to manage an entire economy. I think it's significantly worse.
That the middle class could have the same sort of treatment that the rich and powerful have.
That's the regulation that you think I'm against?
No, I'm not saying you're against it. I'm saying what I'm for, Hasan.
I think we should... Look.
Again, let me finish.
Okay, go ahead. Sorry, you're right.
The free market allows itself to three really, really big things. It allows prices to go down, quality to go up, and abundance to go outward. Everywhere it's tried, whether it be grocery stores, whether it be housing.
Another phenomenal free market.
Was this 2018?
Yeah.
What was the housing situation like back then?
It was never good.
Great.
In America, it was never good. That's why literally all of the countries with the highest homeownership rates are like former Soviet bloc countries and just socialist countries still, like have some semblance of existing socialism. Oh my God.
Do not stop working just because it's in healthcare. Whether it be LASIK eye surgery. LASIK eye surgery used to cost $20,000 per eye.
This is the funniest one. LASIK eye surgery is like the John Stossel argument. That's like the only argument that libertarians have, which is why it's like so bad.
What, it got deregulated and got cheaper?
No, it was never properly regulated, and that's why it was trash for the longest time. Libertarians love talking about LASIK and how affordable LASIK is, and it's like, it literally sucks. It sucked for so long.
The insurance companies,
technological advancements that are
because of the free market,
more affordable.
The insurance companies would not cover the LASIK eye surgery.
Ridiculous.
It was a cash business. Doctors went outside of the traditional system, and all of a sudden now it costs $500 per eye for LASIK eye surgery.
Everything you're saying is flat out false. And also,
what's false about that?
Because we live under a mixed economy, Charlie. So it's a consequence of both publicly funded research and also certain private elements. So when you try to turn around and look at technological advancements that are happening in virtually every field, virtually every field on an international scale, and assume that this is just a consequence of free market capitalism, well, let's talk. Yeah, no, it's actually unicorns, dude. Unicorns are giving us magically
Hasan, answer me a question.
If we're going to lie about this stuff, then we might as well just go all the way out.
Does insurance cover LASIK?
Does insurance
cover LASIK?
What does that have to do with anything?
Because when you don't have the insurance lobby within the negotiating of prices, then the consumer knows exactly what everything costs.
Are you going to?
The reason why healthcare costs so much.
He's trying to say. He's trying to say that like insurance lobby is like engaging in like regulatory capture or any number of different like things. Like they are the reason why prices are so high, which there's truth to that argument. Except, I'm not pro-insurance. I'm pro-abolition of insurance and abolition of any kind of privatization in the field of medicine due to inelastic demand. So I don't know why he's making that argument at all.
The argument that
you go into a hospital, no one knows what anything costs. No one knows what anything costs for how long you stay there, for how long the procedure is.
Yeah, the greatest counter to this is like, you're in an emergency room, you got shot in the gut because luckily we have a lot of freedom and everyone has a gun and can use to shoot you, right? Thank God for that. What are you going to do? Are you going to pull up on your Google Marketplace
to try to figure negotiate here. Come on.
To figure out which hospital is cheaper for their emergency room facilities? Like, what do you mean? Price transparency is not the end all be all of making healthcare less costly. Okay. Ridiculous.
No, I'd rather die. I think I'd rather
die. This dude is just watching your video, not even reacting. How does that 1 million views? I think people are stupid. That's
I think in a year he's going to lose 57 million again.
Yeah.
It's obvious where the views are coming from.
Component of a market is pricing. The problem with the system we have
we
now,
live in a country that is virtually the only country on the planet that does not negotiate drug prices. Even Donald Trump said he was going to do this, and he's failed to deliver on that promise, among many other promises, like he was going to solve the economy or that he was going to bring about world peace. Like, this is preposterous to assume that, like, insurance, you could just unjustifiably just throw out a claim without expecting me to I can't even talk. Refute it when you say, when you make this ridiculous assertion that insurance companies are actually decreasing prices.
Someone said this dude's doing Sniper Wolf commentary. Yeah, he's just sitting there like, he didn't even talk.
Covered by insurance.
Okay.
Consumers went straight to the doctor, so they knew how much it cost. Therefore, prices went down, quality went up, and accessibility went outward. That's what happens when a market is allowed to exist.
Again, there's only one person that appears to have done their homework on the issue, and that is not Hasan Piker. All you see from him.
Yeah, that's why healthcare is so good in America. Yeah.
But do you need the other kinds of healthcare? I think LASIK is pretty much all you.
Yeah, no, classic.
Everything's
once again. The only reason why LASIK was as cheap as it was is because it's literally deregulated. That's number one. And technological innovations have obviously made it easier to do LASIK in general. Having said that, however, the idea that like price transparency, because he has to triangulate his messaging to what Donald Trump was saying at the time. And Donald Trump was saying like price transparency. I'm going to give price transparency. The notion that like you're going to need immediate procedures that are like life-changing, like life-saving, right? And you just like pull out your phone to be like, oh, well, let me scroll through to look at all the hospital rates here, okay? Like, it's so stupid. It's a libertarian fantasy, okay? At the end of the day, inelastic demand for healthcare, okay? This is just like some Marxist concept. Inelastic demand is capitalist, okay?
Are you sure? I reckon it's pretty elastic. I think under communism, people are going to exploit it. They're going to just get their spleen removed, you know? Just like,
they're gonna,
the demand's going to go up if it's free.
They're going to get too much healthcare. Oh, Jesus Christ.
The truth is that most of the world's problems that he listed have no clear line drawn to capitalism inherently. For example, British researcher Alex de Waal did an extensive study and found out that most of the world's famines today are not a result of lack of food, but from military and political action in places like Africa and the Middle East.
Which is famously not a capitalist endeavor.
No, for the past 20 years, communist countries have been rampaging through the third world.
It's so up. The amount of wealth that has been extracted from the global south by communist nations is unimaginable, okay? Let me tell you, it's definitely not America. Who is responsible for these wars, I wonder?
It's not capitalism, it's America.
Yeah.
Like
which is
a very sensible answer.
Yeah.
And the problems in the economy like the 2008 crash or the manipulation of the markets to their detriment happen more from corruption and a pervasion of...
It's not capitalism, it's corruption.
Dude, why didn't I think it's bad guys?
Yeah.
It's like there's good guys and then there's bad guys, okay? Let me tell you a story. It's like there's good guys and then there's bad guys. The bad guys are Jewish. This is why unmaterialist, like anti-materialist thinking lends itself so perfectly to anti-Semitic conspiracies. Because ultimately, you have to find an outgroup of bad guys who are like, you know, controlling everything. And of course, historically, and these guys don't have, you know, they don't have a penchant for invention. So they end up using the oldest conspiracy, which is that Jews did it.
Capitalism versus the genuine free markets. But in a world like this, it's really something to see that kind of blind virtue signaling from Hasan, and it nearly spilled over into
I like
the physical.
that he launched into this being like utopian socialist Hasan, like these utopia thinkers.
No, my favorite argument is like when they call what I'm saying virtue signaling, where you're just like automatically admitting it's a virtue. So what are you doing? Vice signaling?
You're just saying the right thing because you want to look good.
Yeah.
Like, true.
Yeah, okay. Yeah. Oh, thanks, man. Yeah, no, I agree. It is the right thing. Like, no, I'm going to say the wrong thing because it's the hard thing to say. Okay.
Domain, just take a look at this incredible moment.
So Hasan, why don't you give 95% of your money away and go live on a commune?
Do you really think that that's how it works? Do you really think
why
that's
not?
how it works?
Go live what you preach. Because every single...
This is as silly.
You talked uninterrupted for 5 minutes. Hasan, let me finish.
Go ahead. Sorry, you're right.
I live what I practice. I'm a free market capitalist. I employ people. I took a risk. I have my own...
I enslave them. I'm a free market capitalist, which is why I exploit the third world every day, and it's awesome. I'm living by my principles. principles.
I love the whole taking a risk thing because, like, what are you risking? Just being someone who works for you? You know,
no, he didn't even do that. He took a risk by going to a very wealthy Foster Freeze who died like a couple years back. His risk was going up to Foster Freeze, who his dad knew because his dad was a contractor, and asking him for money.
That's pretty risky.
Which he got.
That's risky, though. It could have been embarrassing if he said no. Would have felt bad for a little while.
But don't you love that they're doing why don't you give away all your money? When I was making $60,000 a year, like, that doesn't even make sense even now. Obviously, like, it's the same argument that they make to me now. They're like, Hasan, you're rich. Give away all your money then. And it's like, yeah, dude, if I gave away all of my money, okay, if I gave away all my money and we eradicated global poverty, I would do it in a heartbeat. What are we talking about? But the amount of money that I have, unfortunately, is not going to do that. Okay, it's ridiculous.
Startup business every single day. I practice what I preach. He wants other people to contribute to what he considers to be a good idea, what he considers will make the world a better place. You have the freedom to go live as a socialist. Go do it, Hasan. What's stopping you?
Okay. All right. So here's why this is ridiculous. And the last point I will make is this. Here's why that conversation is absolutely preposterous. If I gave away the measly earnings that I had and gave away 95% of
How much do you make,
that wouldn't necessarily even push the needle. I will be very honest. It's really embarrassing, especially because my boss is sitting right there. I make $60,000 a year, okay? And that's a really good salary, but it's not like what Ted Cruz's wife was talking about the other day when she said $174,000 salary a year. It's not like we're going to buy a second home anytime soon, but that's besides the point, okay? You're trying to attack me, which is ridiculous, like asking me what my salary is. Sure, I'll reveal it willingly.
You brought it up in context. I'm asking, why don't you live like a socialist?
Okay.
Go live like a socialist.
Oh yeah, dude. How much money do you make? It's like, okay, I make 60 grand. Like, what am I? Who am I saving with that? I need government assistance, dumbass. Oh, that's so funny. Oh, Jesus Christ. He owned him. He has a lot of money now. Why didn't he give it away? How many people can I save with the amount of money that I could redistribute? It's like, I love when these guys basically turn into like anarchist babies on Twitter who are like, oh, if I had Hasan's money, I'd open up a soup kitchen immediately. I'd like stop streaming and immediately just open up a soup kitchen. It's like, okay, what next? Like, where's the stream of income coming from to maintain the soup kitchen? Like, what are we doing? Oh, I haven't really thought about that. Yeah, that's why, because you're a 14-year-old anarchist, okay? You read Kropotkin, and now you think you unlock the secrets of the world. You baby. The end.
The point is larger than that, Charlie.
I live like a capitalist every single day, Shank. I live as a capitalist. I live what do I do? I get charity every single year.
Hold on.
What's my salary? Less than his.
Charlie, take a seat.
Come on, Shank, let's go.
Charlie,
what are you doing? Sit down.
Take a seat. All right, no. Take a seat. You're going to take a seat.
That was a legendary moment.
What was he yelling back to him? You couldn't pick up.
What Jank was saying? I don't know. I don't remember. But I do find it really funny because he's like, I live like a capitalist every day, Jank. I give to charity. Normally, these are the same people who are like, oh, you got emotional, you lost. But of course, like when Charlie Kirk is like crying like a baby on stage.
You.
Yeah, when he's crying like a baby on stage, they're like, oh, that's actually cool that he did that. No, he got emotional as
Quiet down. Last point.
We are funded by the grassroots of this country.
You Foster Freeze. Dude, Turning Point USA is funded by the grassroots of this country is so funny.
I mean, it's true in their ideology because this is just a guy who pulled himself up by his bootstraps. You know? He's a regular guy. He's just super rich.
It's just funny because it's like the exact opposite of grassroots, obviously, because it's like billionaires and millionaires. It's literally just astroturfing, like making it seem like you have this like robust people back movement when it's just like a couple people. It's like 8 people giving you the money.
You could try to demagogue it all you want.
$60,000, Hasan, that would take him more than 50 years of living with zero expenses to buy the $3 million mansion he just bought in Los Angeles.
2018 video, and he linked to an article from 3 years ago.
Yo, I can't have a conversation with a person like this. This is like not a human. Like this person is too stupid to be declared like a human being. He's like medically something else, dude. What the That's crazy. Like, how do you deal with 1 million people thinking that like this debate happened yesterday and I wasn't making 60 grand back then? Like, how do I deal with that?
You say you're good at basketball, but last time I checked 30 years ago, you couldn't walk. So something doesn't quite add up here, Hasan.
How old is this video? This video is from 2 days ago, chatter. Bro forgot to make this video 3 years ago. 3 years ago, this video would still be old. It's a debate from 2018. He watched a debate from 2018 and linked to an article from 2021 to be like, wow, dude, kind of weird. How did you buy a $3 million house with a 60 grand a year salary? Maybe we all heard that wrong. Play it back. Yeah.
$60,000, Hasan. That would take him more than 50 years of living with zero expenses to buy the $3 million mansion he just bought in Los Angeles.
Oh no, he's stupid. He's just dumb. So much of conservatism just revolves around just being stupid. I don't know how to argue against a person that doesn't understand concepts like the passage of time. Like, that's not even like a baby. I think a baby can understand the passage of time. This person has failed to comprehend that.